Now we're going to jump right into using some PHP code in this. So go ahead and go to your resource pack directory, and inside of the strings and variables folder, open up the second step, which is called test HTML hello world PHP. Now go ahead and copy all of this code and then paste it over the code that's currently in your test.html file and save it. Now we haven't used any PHP yet, so this will look a little strange to you, but I just wanted to point out that we have our original HTML text at the top, and then we have our PHP code at the bottom. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like in the browser. I'm going to jump back to it, and I'm going to refresh. And now you see we have something that looks a little bit strange. It says hello world, and then there's world, and then there's some characters here at the end. What's happening here is that we haven't told Apache, who's creating this web page, that this is a PHP script and that it might have some PHP code in it. The way we tell Apache that is by changing this HTML extension to .php instead. So let's go ahead and jump back to our examples folder and rename this test.html to test.php. Now that we've made this change, we need to change the URL in our browser. So we're going to change this from test.html to test.php and hit enter. Now this looks better. It says hello world, hello again world. If this is what you see in your browser, then congratulations again because you just wrote your first PHP script. Let's go ahead and take a look at the code. I'm going to jump back to the text editor here. So the first thing that's kind of remarkable is that we can have HTML here and we can have PHP code as well. So a .php file can be rendered just like an HTML file, but we get the added benefit of being able to put in PHP code. Let's go ahead and talk through the different parts of this script. To begin with, we have an opening PHP tag. This is an opening bracket, a question mark, and PHP. At the very end of it, we have a closing PHP tag, which is a question mark and an ending bracket. Inside of here is code that gets parsed out by our PHP application. What we see here is called a statement. It's basically what you would expect a statement to be if we're talking about language. It's telling PHP to do something. In this case, it's saying print some text to the screen. So we're using something called a command called print, and we're passing it this text, which is called a string. If we were going to read this in plain English, this file would say, send some HTML to the browser that says hello world, and then begin running some PHP code that prints out to the screen the HTML hello again world. The semicolon here marks the end of a statement. It's basically like a period in English. It means that we can begin a new statement afterwards. So quickly, again from left to right, we have our opening PHP tag, we have our print statement, we have the string that's going to be printed to the screen, we have our semicolon, which is the end of the statement, and then we have our closing PHP tag. Now one thing to note is our string is inside of quotes. And we're going to be talking extensively about these quotes and strings in upcoming videos. If you want to play with this script, just go ahead and type in some additional text here and watch it display on the screen. If you cause some errors on the screen, that's a good thing. It means you're testing the boundaries a bit, and we'll get to some of the errors that you might run into a little bit later on in these videos. Strings are an essential aspect of working with PHP code. Let's go ahead and spend some time with them and look at some examples.